So I've been looking into some stuff, and it looks like the puzzle game that I'm playing around with that I haven't figured out a name for yet. Do not think it's possible to make one of those in BuildBox. From what I can see so far, yeah, it's hard to say. What I've been able to look up so far suggests that BuildBox didn't include the ability to do memory or Candy Crush style games, because they figured, oh well, that's old news. No, nobody needs more games like that, so they don't make that possible. Um, so I'm gonna have to figure out another game system to do that with, which I guess is okay because it gives me time to figure it out. I'm wondering if maybe I could use there's a book that a friend of mine recommended to me that's how to make games using Python. So I may end up using that game as a means of trying to learn how to construct a game with Python. Not sure if it'll be mobile usable though. I will find out, see if it makes sense. Yeah, I haven't figured out a name for it yet. Yeah, I admit to not doing a whole lot on the gaming stuff end of spectrum today, as I've had some inspiration on some of the story writing I'll be doing next week, and sort of chasing down and making notes on that while it's still in my head. So I've been a little distracted. Haven't been feeling well either. Part of it may be the diet, but so that leaves us down with a CuttlePop and Liquid Metal Rage. I think I'm really going to stick to that name. I did a simple Google search and nothing came up for Liquid Metal Rage. So I think we've got it good on that one. I have been debating with, well, let's first go over to CuttlePop. I think I covered most of the things that I was really interested in last night. I still want to do the vertical gameplay. Just try to get a sense for whether or not I want to. I still feel like it would be fun to have the Squid Ink play a role in something. I don't know how I would apply that. Not without having like sharks and swordfish and other things come at her. Yeah, I don't know that mechanic is absolutely necessary. But so at this point, that game is a squid character swimming by tapping the screen to try to keep ahead of the advancing screen and avoid the obstacles of the reef in the way, while also potentially opening treasure chests to get items that they need. So costumes, instruments, and I think the third level shouldn't be treasure chests. It might be like doorways to. Oh no, well, thinking about what I was thinking about last night with the construction of this game, where each of the levels has costumes instruments, and your bandmates. And when you get to the end, it's one of the concerts that you are performing at. Level 2 is a second concert, but after level 1, you've unlocked the ability to play as either play as one of two characters. And then at the end of level 2, you get to play as all three bandmates. And level 4 is the victory game. The end of level 3 is the victory game. The victory scenario. So you win the game if you play all the way through all 3 levels. I gotta try to make sure the fan on this isn't blocked so it can breathe. I think that's part of why it's been freezing up. It's been too hot for it. So level 1, level 2, and level 3, you're going to collect instruments, costumes, and bandmates the whole way. And you have the ability to go back and replay levels for higher score. I think that's, yeah. And the score in this case isn't a higher score, I should say. It should be a better time. How fast can you complete the level? So a speed pass. And I feel like any of the added stuff that you can do, I wonder if there's a way to do like an inventory scene, like can you stock the characters in a new costume, whatnot, but do it at the end of a level to show that you can put the outfits on that you found on that level and make it so that you can purchase different outfits for the characters with game currency, the points awarded. I just had the massive impulse to just stop and go play around with game building. But anyway, and I don't want to make it so that it's just like a gimmick of buy these things. What it is really at that point it's meant to be collecting and customizing the characters. All 3 levels of the game would be replayable over and over again, but the treasure chests could be stocked with the new outfits that you're trying to get or the new instruments. And I don't know that there's as much need for, I think the bandmates, collecting the bandmates at each level can remain the same. But replaying the levels over and over again for a chance to, unlock those new outfits and use them in the inventory screen as a sort of a paper doll collection. I think that's a viable thing that I could potentially do. It's a collectible aspect of it. Doesn't change the gameplay in any way. And replaying the levels gives you the chance to, I feel like building the levels for each one, they should be challenging enough that you'll never be able to do. So I feel like there should be something else as well as, like, in order to successfully complete the level, you're collecting the things you need to collect for that level. and you've got a timer that you've got to beat. But I also feel like it'd be kind of cool if you could, I don't know, collect sand dollars along the way or something like that. And that would be a point total, so that you can play all the way through, finish the level, get to the concert, play with your friends, unlock each of the characters, and you can use sand dollars as in-game currency to purchase new outfits and new instruments for them. And your score is still a total of how fast you can beat the level. So you have multiple methods in the idea of this game. You have multiple pathways for ranking. You know, how fast could you complete level 1, 2, and 3? How many of the outfits have you collected, and how many sand dollars or currency bits have you accumulated per level? Can you get all of them? Making them so that they're hard to get all of them, or there are a lot of them and it takes a lot of extra effort to get them, would be, and maybe even make it so that there aren't a set number in a level, that they're sort of like a if you imagine like in Super Mario Brothers, where he's running along and you get one of those bricks that you can jump up and it just pops coins up over and over again, and then it stops at a certain point. If you imagine there are places along the course of the game that are sort of like that, where you can just keep hitting or tapping into them to get currency, like where you can prop up your points total for the level. I think that might be something I need to include. Like, I really want to make the game something that it's playable more than once. Like, once you've beat it, if it's just collect the first set of outfits, the instruments, and your bandmates, beat level 1, unlock the next character so you could play either one in either of the first 2 levels, get to the end of level 2, unlock the third character. You've now got all 3 characters. You've got the costumes you need from each of them, the instruments for each of them, and if you win the third level, like at that point, there's no reason to continue to ever play again, unless you can compete for currency to get new costumes to dress your characters up, and you have the ability as sort of like I think it would be really fun if there were a way to add a feature where you could take a snapshot of your character in the new costume and post it to social media or something. But also be able to, just sort of keep an image of your character in your favorite costume for them. And the way to do release a new costume on a regular basis, but also it's important to have increasing degrees of challenge that you can go through. And so having that, how fast can you beat a level, and also have a feature that lets it be something like how high a score can you get in a level? What's the highest score that you can accumulate per level and per the whole game? So I really got to think of a way to make that work in game. Now the puzzle game, like I said, I won't be able to complete that one right now because I don't have a game development suite that lets me build it yet. I might be able to see if I could do something like that over on Scratch or something like that. BuildBox won't let me build Candy Crush style games. It's what is it? Match 3 style games is what I've heard people refer to them as, and BuildBox won't let me do that. It doesn't have the capability to do that. At least last I checked. So that's going to have to be done in a different way. So I'm thinking I might do that in Python using the book my friend gave me on how to make games in Python. It might take additional time to figure out how to port that over to mobile platforms. We'll see what I can do with it. And then that leaves Liquid Metal Rage, which seems to be a decent name for the game. I keep imagining the player character as a blob of mercury. And so I got to thinking as I was pondering it earlier today, if it might be possible to have if I built it to work on a mobile platform or tablets, like a phone or a tablet, if the movement of the character is managed by tilting, so it's like trying to keep that bead in the middle of your screen and move it around, and then you tap the screen for it to scatter. I'm not sure that makes the most sense, though. And I feel like to a certain degree, when it's not a tapped screen and you're just moving the character, to have the screen move with the character. But as soon as you've exploded your character and it's in all the little pieces that it's made out of, then have the screen auto advancing and forcing you through certain areas. I don't know how I would make that work. I may just have to see what I can do with what I start with. And that may just be automatically auto advancing and having the character movement when it's a solid piece just be a drag it around the screen kind of thing. But tapping it breaks it and the screen auto advancing squishes the character through certain things. So I got to figure out at that point it's just a basic auto advancing game with some puzzle like maze puzzles that are solved by moving the character around with the occasional feature of having to tap to be squished through small tight spaces. And that in itself is an interesting puzzle game. But I do think that auto advancing edge, figuring out the pathway and lining up everything just right before you self destruct so that you don't lose a piece of yourself down a path that you can't risk losing yourself down. If you build a game that's that way, you're going to die often. And you're going to have to remember what you did wrong and figure out how to do it right each time. And I think that's where the rage game style game comes into play. And I feel like the harder you make it to move through the maze in time to figure out, well, like, you'll have like an edge that suggests, the creeping in edge that comes along, that there are maybe 3 ways out of this section of the maze. Which one do you take? Make it clear. Try not to make it too clear until it's halfway across the screen already that 1 or 2 of those things will reach a dead end, and you won't know which one until it leaves you just spare seconds to maneuver your character into the right spot. And then you maneuver that character, and then there's a portion of it where you're coming up and you have to tap it to get squeezed through the right portion into the next portion where you need to be. And then you quickly have to start maneuvering to a new section before and keep track of what's coming in. Like, a lot of information to process all at once. And so the as near as I can tell, the focus of rage games is to make it so that it's super easy to get it wrong. It's super easy to make mistakes, but not so much that like it's a mistake you can't see. Like, you do a thing and you realize, like, oh, if I had just had like 3 more seconds, I could have gotten it where I needed it to be. Like, that's what you need to do in order to build this as a rage game, which I find it hilarious that I'm actually thinking of building what I would call a rage game, because I've never played them because I have no interest in being angry at a game. But if I make a game where that is the way things end up being, and I also think, I was thinking about this last night, if it's a rage game and I'm calling it Liquid Metal Rage, I need to get a hold of a few of my friends that do heavy metal music, and see if they could help do a soundtrack for this game. Because I feel like if you're in the middle of, I gotta get the, oh, come on, no, give me the, damn it. If you're in the middle of doing that and the background music is just loud metal music, I can see that totally adding to the tension and the frustration. Like, I can see that like, you can turn the music off. I'll leave a little button so that you can turn the music off so that you can focus on what you're doing if you really want to. But I feel like the screaming and the guitar and the beat and everything, while you're trying to organize how to get this character into the right spot and try to figure out when's the point where you need to set it up so you double tap to get squirted through a portion, but leave you enough time to figure out how to, once you've reassembled on the other side, get to the next spot where you need to get through as it feeds in through the side, not telling you enough information yet because you're not ready. Like, that level of tension and frustration of getting the right spot at the right time and figuring it out, and paying enough attention to what's on the right hand side while also keeping track of where you are in relation to the dead zone on the side, and whether or not you need to be pinched between a piece to squirt through at the right time. It's just like that timing, that mechanism, that's going to be the hard part of designing the level for the 3 levels that I'm going to do for this. But I think in the long run, it makes for a better game that way. Because just solving the maze levels, that might be an okay game if I had like 8 to 12 levels that I built, and I could add new levels on a regular basis. And I might do that. I might get to a point where I can just add more levels over and over again. And so you could download the newest expansion of new levels for Liquid Metal Rage. I could totally see doing that. But solving the puzzle of a maze at a leisurely pace without the pressure of the walls moving at the right time. I might even set up, I might even see if I can set up little bonus things along the way so that like it's you know you have to get down to the bottom right-hand corner, but in that top left corner, if you get the chance to squeeze in there quickly before that moves too far over, you can snag a thing that causes the screen to stop moving just long enough for you to figure out how to get into a path and get to the right spot, but make it so that like the choice of hitting that thing is such a risk that like it makes it easier to complete a level if you get it in time, but it also makes it more likely that you die. And occasionally set up a few of them where it's impossible to get it and get to where you need to go as bait to trap you into getting it and sabotaging your chance to complete that section. That's sort of a jerk move, but I kind of see it makes sense. It's like bait, you know, I'm going to bait you into doing the wrong thing. Sometimes getting one of those bonuses would be to your advantage. Sometimes it's going to ruin your chances of finishing that section. And you won't know which it is until you've tried it. It's such a jerky thing to do. And that's the funny thing. And it's part of the reason I don't think I've ever really gotten into rage games or even just thinking about creating one before, is because the focus of a rage game is to be a jerk as much as possible to your player. I don't really want to be a jerk to the player. I want them to have fun doing it. But I do see there's a certain amount of fun in like, I can do, no, I'm not going to stop until I finish this. I'm going to get this. I'm this close. Like I've had experiences in my life where like I was helping a friend rebuild a snowblower, and he was like, he hit a point during one of the days we were working on this. I'm done. I'm angry. I don't want to work on this anymore. And like, I'd worked on it for about an hour and a half. It was bitter cold. I couldn't feel my fingers anymore. But I'm like, we are this close. And I'm not sure what's going wrong here, but I'm not getting up until I figure out why we're not able to finish what we're doing right here, right now. And it's just like the need to finish this. I know we're this close. And there's something that's not letting us finish right now. Until I crack that puzzle, I'm not letting go. Like I love a challenge like that sometimes, and so I can understand the appeal of a rage game, but the idea of deliberately making a problem where the solution is such a frustratingly hard thing to encounter that it makes you angry and just angry. I don't like to build that kind of thing, but I think this may be my first adventure into that realm. We're 28 minutes in. I'm about ready to call it for the night here and get back to work on some things. Ow, I think I just pulled something in my back by scratching my back. All right. I'm going to call it here tonight. I'm a little tired, partly because my system's been upset today. It's probably something I ate. It's just the facts of life for me sometimes. And then I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to see what I can do to upload the... I had trouble with internet connection not letting me live stream stuff earlier today. So I feel like it's done all right for me tonight at 10, after 10 p.m. But at around 8 to 8:30, it was giving me some trouble. So I'm wondering if internet traffic in the neighborhood or in the building have precipitated some of those errors. And I don't want it to get in the way of me being able to record and post the edited videos. I'm going to call them edited videos. I don't know what else to call them. So I don't want to get a video recorded and then find out later that it's missing a chunk in the middle because it cut out on me. So I don't want to do that, but I'm going to try to post the Star Trek board game video tonight and the taste test I did with my friend a few years ago tonight. And tomorrow then should be, I will do a react and review for music videos on YouTube, and then I will do creative prompts inspired by that tomorrow, and then the health and fitness tomorrow. So the diet and exercise live stream at 8, and then 10:30 will be my video game, working on the video game stuff. And then that's so tomorrow's Thursday. Friday will be hopefully video game react review video, and then a video game creative prompt video, fitness and diet and exercise live stream at 8, and then 10:30 video game. And then Saturday is probably going to be when I do my health and well-being video that I've been working on for the last month, followed by the fitness and the diet and exercise video, and then the last day of video game stuff creation. And I think then we go into the next week, and that's going to be writing project and video projects, finishing up by the middle of the week. And then 3 days of recipes. And then we start a new month on the 4th with a new writing project, which I'm hoping will be 7 days of I'll write a short story each day. That's sort of what I'm hoping for there. Alrighty, so that's sort of what I'm going to do. I'm going to call it here tonight. Thanks for joining me, and I will catch you tomorrow. Have a good night.